Welcome, everybody, to the Salty Nerd Podcast Monday night live stream, A Case of the Mondays. Thank you all so much for being here. We have a huge group in the chat already. You guys have been chatting since like 4 hours ago. That's fantastic. Thank you all so much for the support. Really appreciate it. Since most of you here are probably new to our channel, I'll just give you a quick spiel. We run the Salty Nerd Podcast where we sit down on Tuesday afternoons and mornings and we sit down and we talk about goofy movies and we get drunk and we talk a bunch of nonsense from 80s slasher films to more modern stuff, all with a really healthy dose of salt. And that's what we do here. If you guys like our content, if you like this live stream, please consider to subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification so you get notifications when we go live with special guests. Tonight's guest, of course, is Adam Crigler. He is a political commentator and all around pretty cool guy as far as I'm concerned. And we are welcoming him to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, Adam. We really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for those kind words, too. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, there's a couple things when I found out you were going to be on my show. I was like, oh man, I gotta find out who this guy is. I've never talked to him before.
Yeah,
and I did some diving in on YouTube, watched a couple of your videos. You have a great channel, very successful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And
although I did just get a strike today, but
yeah,
that's another it's a conversation.
There have been some people in the chat already who are asking about why you're not live streaming on your own channel, and I guess you can explain that that's the reason why for now.
You know what sucks? I can't even post to let people know. Like I can't even make a post on my community page to be like, hey, I got a strike, so I can't stream or do anything. I can't post anything for a full week on my YouTube channel. So it sucks. But I see a lot of people in chat right now. I got chat up over here, and I see a lot of people over there that are in my chat. So thank you for supporting me, guys. I appreciate y'all.
I'm going to look at the silver lining and say, now you get to be on my show, which is super cool.
You want to know something really cool? I'll add to that silver lining. My strike that I got today saved a dog's life.
Nice.
I am not joking. Listen to this. So listen to this story. I woke up and I have a team with me that helps me do my show. They handle certain things for me to allow me to be able to do more research. And one of them happens to live here in Tucson, where I'm at right now. And he hit me up. He's like, dude, we got a strike on the channel. You know, what do you want? You know, I want to come over and let's talk about it. So he comes over, we're drinking some delicious Crigler coffee. I don't know if you know about my coffee, but we're sitting there drinking some delicious coffee and talking about what to do, whatever we figure out, whatever our plan is. And he says, all right, I'm going to head out and let you do your thing. And he comes back to my door 5 minutes later, not even 3 minutes later. The dogs are going crazy. I'm like, who's at the door? And it's my buddy. And there was this little dog behind him, a little, I don't know what kind of wiener dog.
Pomeranian? Oh,
no,
wiener dog. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about, little
Dachshunds.
wiener dog. Dachshund. It was like a long-haired Dachshund, cute dog.
Okay.
And he said, dude, I just found this dog. It was outside in the street right by. It was a very busy road too. This is fast, 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, so cars are flying by. And he grabbed it and brought it over to my house. And I'm like, I think that might be my neighbors up. They have this gated thing. And I was like, I think that's their dog. And it turns out it was, and the dog got out and he brought it back to their house. And, so the dog's home safe. But if I didn't get a strike, he probably wouldn't have come over today. And that dog would have gotten out and probably gotten a hit. So it's kind of, I'm like, hey, you know what? If I got to save a dog's life today just by getting a strike, I'm cool with it.
That's good silver lining, man.
Yeah,
right, that's the way to think. That's the way to think. I appreciate that.
Right.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about early on, you mentioned that you're a musician. You play the guitar, I believe. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. So how did that get started? Guitar. Was that like a hobby when you were a teenager that just kind of grew into a passion, or how did that happen?
No, I love to sing. You grew up in the 90s when music was still really awesome. And Sublime, Pearl Jam, those are like, I would say, the two biggest influences of mine. Even actually Garth Brooks randomly. My grandparents brought me to musicals. Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat was randomly one of my favorites. I knew all the words and I would sing along. So I loved to sing. And my friends in high school were in a battle of the bands and won. And their singer got kind of full of himself. He's like, you guys only won because of me. I'm going to do my own thing.
Oh, no.
And went solo, as it were. Of course.
The ego inflated real quick, huh?
He's probably flipping burgers now. But so my friends were really great, talented artists, and they were 2 guitar players, and they were playing in a park, and they started playing an Incubus song. Oh yeah, Incubus is another one of those bands that, and I knew all the words, of course, to the song, and I just started singing, and they were like, "Dude, you're singing, like you should sing in our band." And it kind of like, we never really created a band, but we jammed a lot, and I was always kind of like the guy who sang the songs, or at least led the karaoke sessions that we all kind of had. We just like, I don't know, smoking at a park and just jamming out. But then I moved to New York and, you know, started my career in other ways, and I don't know, there's something missing in my life, and I realized I love to sing. I really enjoyed getting out these emotional, angsty feelings through singing. And that's kind of, and I picked up a guitar, and I've written, I don't even know how many songs, probably over 40 songs easily over the past 17 years of my life. Yeah, I picked it up when I was 20. I bought my first guitar when I was for my 21st birthday, is when I really kind of committed into singing and playing. Yeah.
Are you going to take that farther and start putting out albums and stuff like that?
I think I saw someone in chat asking for an album. I have to, and my wife is actually a very talented music producer, and I just don't. I personally haven't put the time in. It's on me 100%. If I just like dedicated into, I don't play music as much as I should, because it's not my main focus right now. My main focus is my show, researching and reading articles and coming up with segments to you know, do a live show Monday through Friday. It's time consuming. You know, so I don't know. I need to focus on it. I definitely do. My mom is actually in chat saying, "Album, Adam." I see her in chat. That's funny.
Nice.
So, yeah, I really do. I feel like I just got a strike today, right, from my YouTube channel. So the more I diversify my talents, you know, I have a coffee company. If I have an album out, then, you know, I might be known musically. I have a Twitch stream. I haven't Twitched in a long time, but I might pick that up again. So I don't know. I think it's just kind of telling me like, hey, you really should use everything at your disposal to be successful in life.
Having those different streams of income from different projects is definitely a good thing. Tell me about your coffee company. I had no idea you made your own coffee. Yeah. How did that get started? We're big coffee drinkers over here at the Salty Nerd Podcast. We're quite addicted to it.
So after the show, you just let me know, and I'll send you guys some coffee, just as a little gift, you know. So this is actually, my mom designed this logo here. It's Crigler Coffee, and it's delicious. Look, I'm a coffee snob. I cannot, and now that I've got my own coffee, I can't drink other stuff. It's roasted when you order it. When you go to the store, it's got a Best By date, and you don't know when they actually roasted the beans. And my coffee, when you order it, they roast it afterwards and then send it to you. And you'll get coffee that's roasted within 3 days sometimes, of just like, so you know it's the freshest coffee that you can even get. You can't get this anywhere else. And it's just really delicious coffee. I see a lot of people in chat. Thank you so much, guys. A lot of my chat supports me and gets the coffee, and they know. I mean, they love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing the chat light up like this, supporting independent artists and stuff. This is really, really cool. And this guy right here, Mark, has been blowing it up with super chats. Thank you so much.
Is that Robert Shaw?
Yes, it is.
That's Robert Shaw, yo. That you could just call him Robert Shaw. He's fantastic. He's down in Australia, and
nice, another Aussie.
He's a very ardent supporter of mine. I really appreciate seeing him in chat. That's cool.
Excellent. So how did you get into making your own coffee? You were just like, you became a coffee snob, and you started and it just wasn't good enough, and you wanted to go make your own stuff?
Yeah, I was sick of it. I wanted my own blend, and then I kind of figured out how to do it. I have a roaster that I basically hired to do the roasting and the sourcing for me, and I get to pick the blends. I have a few different blends, and actually I have a blend that the proceeds go to 22 Until None. That's the Commodore's Reserve. I don't know if you know, 20 to 22 veterans commit suicide daily, and
yes, I have heard that.
So proceeds of this blend actually go to a really good cause.
Awesome.
So it's kind of cool that I can have something that supports myself, but then, you know, use a portion of it to help a good cause. So It's kind of good. Yeah, I just wanted good coffee, and now I'm freaking spoiled by coffee. I think I do have a little bit left. Don't mind if I do.
Go. No, go for it. So, what's the process like when you're brewing, or not brewing? I'm sorry, that's beer.
Roasting.
When you're roasting your own coffee, what's your volume? Are you putting out like a certain amount? Or is it just like each order is made?
I mean, we're getting, so essentially I have about 8 different blends, and there will be an order for X amount of the Commodore's Reserve, we'll say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll roast all of the different bags of Commodore's Reserve at one time, and then they'll ship all those bags out. And then so it's not like you're getting your Commodore's Reserve one bag roasted at a time. It's okay, we had 10 bags of Commodore's Reserve, just an example, so they roast all the beans for the 10 bags, put them in the bags and send them off that day. So
right on.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. And that's going really well for you. Apparently it's huge in the chat. So that's awesome.
It's criglercoffee.com. And do me a favor, after the show, go check it out and let me know, because we've got light roast, medium, dark roasts, and really dope mugs. I'll send you some mugs as well. So
that would be awesome. We would definitely rock that on our show. We have we always have a pot of coffee brewing while we're doing our podcast, because we start at like 9:30 in the morning, and then by 10 o'clock we're drinking. So we usually start off with some coffee, put a little whiskey in it, and then get the show rolling.
Oh, whiskey! Now we're talking. That's my jam too.
Yeah. Oh, great.
You want to start talking about whiskey? Oh, here we go. Let's do this.
Absolutely, we could talk about whiskey. Go for it. What's your favorite? What's your brand?
Well, I like Scotch. I'm a big fan of smoky, peaty styles, so the Islays and that kind of stuff. I don't know if you know this, actually. Crigler whiskey was one of the #1 distilleries in America from 1886 or 7 to 1917, and we sold it to hospitals. We sold it to the government.
Your family name?
It's my family name. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. I think you need to start that back up.
Oh yeah. That's on my list, as I was talking earlier about doing different things and expanding what I'm doing. And I love whiskey. I'm a big fan. So what's your style? What do you like to drink?
I don't know. This might be a bit basic, because I'm not like.
Don't you say Jameson?
No. It's Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, is that acceptable? It's not terrible.
I don't think I know that one.
Okay.
Tullamore Dew.
That's my one where I like, if I just
is that a bourbon?
Tell me what the
bourbons are used. They use one barrel and then they're done. And it's a much more floral presentation, whereas Scotch use the same barrels over and over, and they tend to really take on the characteristics of the things that are used to make it. So Americans, bourbon is usually like an American thing, where Scotch is more of like I don't want to just say Scotland, but the Scandinavian area as well. So
this is an Irish whiskey.
Okay, Ireland. All right.
Okay, yeah.
So that's probably pretty good. I mean, that area is they make really good stuff. So
this is my co-host Jude. Thank you, Jude, for the $5 super chat. Jude has entered the booze chat.
I see that.
She is our cocktail waitress for the podcast. She makes us all the drinks. The other day,
you guys have a cocktail waitress too?
Absolutely. She's our co-host. She's our costume designer for cosplay stuff. She's our mixologist. She's everything. Jude is amazing. We love her. She's awesome.
That's great.
The podcast would not be the same without her. But she made the other day, we were talking about Frankenstein movies on the podcast, and she made this crazy green drink in a frozen stein, and she called it Frankenstein. It was dope. She's so creative. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for just a neat whiskey, Tullamore Dew is my thing. It's very smooth. It's very easy to drink, and it's something that I can just kind of fall back on. I don't go super nerdy. I have a bunch of friends who are like connoisseurs of whiskey. I would love to get into it. It's just it's a time commitment thing. Like, I'd have to learn which one is which one tastes better, what the technical stuff, the caramel inside of it, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have time to educate myself that deeply into it.
I'm just looking up just want to see the bottle right now. So I'm just letting you know what I'm doing here.
No worries.
Oh, okay. All right. I recognize this bottle. I don't think I've actually ever tried that. Do you mix it, or do you drink it neat?
That I drink neat.
Okay.
Mixing, I choose the lesser of the whiskeys for mixing.
Yeah,
I'll do like
yeah.
Jameson or something like that. Like if
I haven't mixed a whiskey in 10 years or something.
Really?
I don't even remember. No, I just drink it
Wow.
neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Typically,
spoiled with whiskey. I'm spoiled with coffee. I'm spoiled with whiskey now. I spoil myself. I'm very lucky in my life, though. I'm very grateful for what I have.
That's
So,
awesome.
that's good.
It reminds me of since you were talking about Incubus being one of your musical inspirations.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think was it the lead singer of that like has like his
Brandon?
own brand of I don't know. He has his own wheat farm or something like that out in
Really?
Arizona. Yeah,
Brandon Boyd does?
He's big. I can't remember if it's wine or if it was something different, but I know he was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about it, and he was like,
Wait, are you thinking of Maynard
I
from A
can't remember.
Perfect Circle and Tool? He's got a wine.
Maybe it was Tool. Maybe it wasn't.
It's Maynard you're thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, not Brandon Boyd. It's funny. Those are two bands that I'm very familiar with. But yeah, it's and Maynard was on Joe Rogan talking about his wine in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
You're giving me those kind of vibes right now, where this guy's just like he's got his fingers in everything, and you're
dude. If I could even get anywhere close to the genius of Maynard and his singing abilities and entrepreneurship, I would be very grateful. That would be amazing because that guy is great. I've seen him live a couple times and he's great.
These ultra successful people who are like I said, they have their fingers in everything. You listen to them talk, and their work ethic is just insane. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and on the side I'm doing that. You wonder like, how do you have freaking time to do all this stuff? It's absolutely insane. Oh yeah, and I've got 3 kids and we homeschool and all this other stuff. It's like, how? I watch people like there's actors that do it. The Rock, he's got his fingers in everything.
That dude, yeah, I don't know how he does that.
Even people like, I mean, Tom Cruise is a little bit of a nutcase, but he's out there doing all kinds of crazy stuff too. It's the motivation. It's really highly motivating for me. People like Cam Hanes. Are you familiar with him at all?
No.
Cameron Hanes. He's like an ultra marathon runner. He's buddies with Joe Rogan, but dude runs a marathon every single day just as like his morning routine.
What?
26 miles a day. Go look him up on Instagram, dude. He's running all the time.
That's amazing.
And then when he goes and does these what is it, Bigfoot 240 or something like that, I think it's called, where they run 240 miles for a race. That's just like
insane. 240 miles.
Yeah.
Well, if you're running 26 miles a day, that's like, that's their marathon then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty intense. But I love watching these inspirational people. It kind of keeps me like, I need to be better. Like, I'm never going to be up there. That's a bit much for me.
I think that's the trick, though, actually, is maintaining that mentality, even if you are up there, because then you're always striving to be better. And then you're never going to get complacent. And I think that's part of the problem with society nowadays is like too many people are just complacent with what they have. Instead of like, I need to work better. I need to further myself and get better at what I'm doing. We need more of that in our society, I think.
Yeah, I think the society has really cushioned us a lot. And people are just, I mean, and the great majority of people are just lazy. Which
true that.
I mean, I don't want to sound
right.
I don't want to sound like a dick. I mean, I have lazy days too, but at the same, you have to look at the society and be like, man, people are way too soft these days.
There's a picture. Hold on, I got to send you please continue. I need you to see this picture. I'm going to show it. I'm going to do it in the private chat.
Okay. All right. I was I was just thinking like, there's that saying, what is it, like weak men make hard times, it goes into that perpetual circle. I think right now for sure we're in that like weak men make hard times at the moment.
I was just talking to my mom about that like 2 days ago. Check out, I just sent it in private chat. This shows like
my gosh,
our just situation. I can't believe it. When I saw that.
To share my screen. Let me see.
Oh, I could probably share it actually.
Yeah, go ahead. If you can, go ahead. I'm pretty new to this live streaming thing. We can pop it up on the side here. Can I do that? No.
I think it's this one.
Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. There you go. Okay, everybody. So you can see it now. So we've got a guy using VR headset, the Oculus Rift, next to a tent with, I'm assuming, some kind of human fecal matter on the sidewalk there. Gosh.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That is like, what is this? So we were talking about people being lazy, and it's like, sure, it's not everyone, but it's like when you have something like this that exists where people are just, they would rather sit next to fecal matter and live homeless in a tent, and who knows where he have you ever done VR by chance? It's amazing.
As like a test at like Walmart or something. One time they had something there.
Okay.
I've never done it. Like I've never owned one. There was actually something that happened with Oculus. I think they got bought out by Facebook.
They did, yeah.
And this is the craziest thing. Did you hear about what they did?
No.
So Facebook tied your Oculus Rift account to your Facebook account, and if you got a strike for talking about Trump or something on Facebook, they would lock you out of your Oculus Rift so you wouldn't be able to use it.
Yeah. As soon as I have a PSVR, but as soon as I heard that, I'm like, well, I'll never ever get an Oculus.
That's exactly what I said too. I'm never gonna buy that product now. I don't even use Facebook. My account is like decades old and I've never touched it. But I'm like,
same here.
That's just by principle alone. Like, how could you do that to your customers? That's so bonkers to me.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy,
dare
man.
You talked about ivermectin on your thing. How dare you?
Well, I don't even want to say that word aniteanymore because pretty sure that's the reason I got a strike, is because I was talking about that and the Joe Rogan versus CNN thing. So it's pretty. Yep, Ready Player One, exactly. The world around is crumbling, and they just want to go into a VR world. It's very sad. The state of the world right now.
So going back a little bit, I was watching this video that had your name attached. I think it came up in my suggestion list on YouTube, and I was like, oh, Adam, he's like shredding on a longboard. That's dope. I watched the video. I was blown away. How freaking much of a badass you are on a longboard.
Thank you.
I dabble in that. I snowboard, and I have a longboard that I use. I cheat a little bit because I'm a little bit lazy. When I take my dog on a walk, I just jump on the skateboard and I let her pull me around.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine.
She's a big dog. She gets a kick out of it. I have a lot of fun.
No, that's not cheating. That's sketching. I'm cool with sketching.
All right, cool. So how did you get into that? Is that another one of those passions like music where you just kind of got into it because you were like exceedingly good at it?
Oh, thank you very much. I moved to New York when I started doing music, and so I lived in New York, and walking around New York is so time consuming. I got a longboard to just go from A to B. I used to live in Queens, and I didn't want to go on the subway. The subway always annoyed me. It was stinky. It was hot. It was uncomfortable. You gotta, wait for hours on end. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get a longboard. And I would go up and over the bridge. I ended up doing, 10, 15 miles a day, which on a longboard is nothing, though. You don't, it's not like walking or running. 25 miles on a longboard is easy, especially in New York, when that's how you got to get around. So that's really what it is. My comfort level on a board was based in, it was my car. It was how I got to the store. It was how I went into the city. It was how I got to work. I just would go nowhere without my board. And I left New York for like a year or two. And when I came back, some of my friends that were there also got longboards because they were inspired by, they told me this later on. They were like, yeah, we were inspired by you riding around on a board. And they had become pro riders since I had left. They weren't even skateboarders. And then I came back and they were riding for this company in New York.
Wow. And
it's called Bustin' Boards. And I just was like, oh man, I want to do tricks. Like I could do all that stuff that you guys are doing. And I don't know, within 2 months I was on the team also. And then it ended up being one of my jobs. I got hired by the place and actually printed the boards. This screen print right behind me, I actually used that screen print to paint the boards at this print shop in Brooklyn, where we would hand print all of the skateboards that we produced. So it was pretty cool. There's some people out there that still have some of the boards that I printed with. I signed it Crispy Crigler. That was my nickname that they called me, Crispy.
We got Crigler coffee, Crigler whiskey. We got Crigler longboards. Dude, I'm in, man. You're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what was that like? Like I've lived close in proximity to New York City. I grew up in Connecticut. I grew up in New Jersey. I was always around that area. I've been to New York several times. And to me, like from an outside looking in, I was always like, why in God's name would anybody want to live there.
Well,
Like
I've certainly thought that a lot lately.
Like that was my mentality as I was growing up. Like, so tell me from your perspective, like somebody who actually lived there, lived and
Yeah,
breathed it every day.
I
Like,
did. Yeah.
what's the draw to a big city like that?
Well, I was modeling. That's the reason I moved to New York in the first place. So I was very busy doing that, and I was very successful. I was lucky to have a nice career doing that. And then I had an incredible community in the skate world, and man, the culture that I lived, it felt like a golden era of skating in New York, because me and a friend of mine, his name was Solomon, we would run this Sunday skate session group. I was sponsored by a bunch of different companies. I ended up riding for Arbor skateboards for a long time. I don't know if you might recognize them because they're a snowboarding company as well. And they would send me stuff to give away, and I would host events like best trick or a race in Central Park. And man, it was such a blast to be a part of something very special. And we had thousands of people show up to some of the events. Last weekend, actually, there was an event called the Broadway Bomb that just, I think it was the 20th year in a row. And I actually won in 2010, although they disqualified me for sketching. But the person who runs the event actually I've talked to him recently. He said, you were the winner. We were wrong to disqualify you. So officially, wow. I did win one of those races. It's a New York Underground street race.
So skitching, like you said, I did that when I used my dog to kind of propel me along. Is that like when you grab a car fender and get towed around for a little bit? That's
you saw that video of me in New York, right?
Yeah, you grabbed like an SUV.
And I took off. Yeah. So I did that. I was with the front group, right? And I did that for a block and a half. And then I let go and I stayed ahead of them for the rest of the time. And they were so angry that I did that. And I'm like, it's an underground street race to get from 1/16th down to the bottom of Manhattan to the Bull. It's about an 8.2 mile race. Yeah. And I got there the fastest, and I don't know. I maintain that I won that.
I call that the Marty McFly. That's immediately what I think of. Like,
right?
Yeah, he pulled a Marty McFly. Just
I did. So
that's
true.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how long did you live in New York for?
On and off for 12 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, long time.
How old were you when you moved? Were you like just starting out, like 18, 19? Or?
I was 19 when I moved to 19? New York. Yeah.
Right on. Cool.
Back when the clubs didn't ask for ID, I immediately started clubbing.
That was like your formative years. Then you're living in the Big Apple. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I traveled to Europe a lot actually in that beginning stage, because the modeling circuit. I lived in Italy for a couple months on a time, and also Paris for a couple months. I was very, very lucky to have the opportunities that I was able, because I was able to see the world from a different perspective, and I'm realizing it now as I'm a YouTuber, and all these people want to be YouTubers, right? This whole craze. What do you want to be when you grow up? A YouTuber? Well, what are you going to talk about? I don't know. I just want to be a YouTuber. And I'm like, you really can't be a YouTuber unless you have something to offer, have some sort of lived experience. And looking back on my life, I've done so many different lives. It feels like that I can like draw from all that stuff. And it's really nice to I'm just very grateful for the life that I've had.
Yeah, young people nowadays, they look at content creators and it's like a cult of personality. Like, oh, it's just them. They are who they are. They post videos about what they do every day, and they have millions of followers. I can do that too, which to a certain extent you can, but
sure.
I think sometimes the game is a little bit rigged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you're a hot honey with big hoo-has, you don't really need to have any sort of a lived experience. You could just be like, hee hee, ha ha, and it works. I mean, I'm just being honest, it's like that exists.
Like here I am in front of this, landmark, take a snapshot and go. It's maddening. I know we get frustrated with that too, because we're trying to grow our YouTube channel. We're about at 2,500 subscribers. And,
let's get up there. People, subscribe. Yo,
thank you so much.
Slam that subscribe button.
We're trying to get our next milestone is 2,500, and we're trying to get up and beyond. We're growing really quickly. Our Patreon is growing, which is awesome. For me, the reason why I started this was because I wanted to provide people with an escape. Like something weird happened in the movie commentary, review world in 2016. where people just collectively lost their freaking minds. And it was so weird. Like, I was watching these people every single day talk about movies, and I was like, oh, this is great. I love movies. I love talking about the behind the scenes stuff. I love talking about box offices and this and that. And 2016 came, and all of a sudden, everybody had this really dark undertone of like anti everything.
The world is dying.
The world is democracy is dead as we know it. And I'm like, what is going on? We're talking about freaking Jason Momoa in an action movie. Like, what does this have to do with Trump?
Well, they were told to add and make it their everything. It's just ridiculous.
I guess it was the goofiest thing, and I stopped watching them because I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. And so similar to you, how with your coffee and stuff, you're like, you didn't find what you wanted out there, so you made it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I did with movie stuff. Like my movie channel is like, we rarely, if ever, mention anything to do with politics.
Good.
It's an
how it should be.
It's an escapism for people. If they want to watch, if they're dealing with COVID, if they're in Australia and the whole country's locked down and they want to escape for an hour and a half, I hope they come to us for it. That's kind of,
I like that.
That's what I kind of went with for us. I was like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. I don't want to put it out there. Politics is not my thing. I'm not real well versed in it. I'm not going to act like I am. So that's what we kind of do. But you, on the other hand, you dive like head first into this stuff. So tell me about like what was it that kind of got you into politics early on? Where did you kind of get your start?
Well, it was last year. I realized I had no idea what I was talking about, and I really don't like that feeling. I want to know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about something. I like being informed, and I was on the Tim Cass show for a long time, and that's really what spawned it. I really don't like talking about Tim anymore. People think that there was a lot that went down, and I'm kind of over it, right? Because I am grateful for what I had there, and I've become independent from that place, and so I was sitting across from him, who's obviously very knowledgeable about the whole political landscape, and I was clueless, and that was really a drive for me to want to know what I'm talking about, what's happening. And in doing so, I ended up realizing that I actually liked Donald Trump and his policies, and that he actually was doing, not necessarily that he was doing, but that he had the right, his heart was in the right place on the things that he wanted to do for our country. And I like that. So I ended up voting for him, and it was a very controversial decision for some reason.
Not like half the country didn't do the same thing.
We're not allowed to even think about having a differing opinion, which is absolutely bonkers. And I think that's why our show did well. Although I say our, but I guess it never was. So, but that's another. So
yeah, that's fine. Subject. We don't have to talk about that. That's not a big deal. I wasn't going to bring it up, but so you started your own channel, and again, this is another thing that I noticed about you is your whole new look you got going on right now. You went from like the super long hair with the beard, and now you're like straight cut, looking good. Like that's a major personality change as far as I'm concerned, because there's videos of you from 10 years ago with like long flowing hair. What brought that on? What's the new look about?
I was just so annoyed with waking up in the morning with my hair under my shoulder, and I'm like, can't like move, I can't like get up, and it was just, it took forever. I always would have it in a bun. I would never like flowing locks. Like that was very rare for me. I was always in a beanie, always in a thing, getting out of my hair. I always had it out of the way, and it was, I don't know. I realized that it was kind of like I was being lazy about it because I didn't really want to just deal with my hair. Whereas like, I'll be honest, like I didn't do my hair right now. It's kind of a mess, right? So I don't know what's happening with my hair right now, but I can tell you what, I don't miss that long hair at all. It's and my wife likes it, so that's really all that matters. I'm cool with I'm literally cooler with it. It was cold for a little while because I kind of got like a really short cut in the back, but I loved it. I really enjoy it. I think I'm going to keep my hair short from now on. So
nice. Right on. So it was just a irritation thing. It wasn't like a massive midlife crisis or anything.
No. I'm still very much the same person as I was before I cut my hair off. But I do feel like I'm getting more professional with the stuff that I'm working on. It felt like my hair and the style that I had before was kind of like loosely, I'm just going to do this. And then once I cut my hair, I built a legitimate studio. Now I have multiple studios for wherever I go. I'm very consistent with my work, although of course now I can't stream for a week, which sucks. But it turns out that I was going on your show. I'm going to go on Nick Rakita's show tomorrow. I'm going to be on Friday Night Tights on Friday, which I was going to take off on Friday to do that show anyway. So it's only 4 days loss. And I'm probably going to start twitching again. I used to twitch a lot. I go as Commodore Crigler on my Twitch channel and my gaming moniker. My friends call me Commodore now.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. And it fits me too, because I
gotta wear a big hat.
I actually put on a white powdered wig and dressed up as like an actual Commodore for my first inaugural sale for Sea of Thieves. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the woods here.
Oh goodness,
what is going on in our country right now, dude? It is maddening to watch.
To start?
Oh my gosh, like. Regardless, I'm sure most of the people in here like Trump, and regardless of where you land on him, if you're listening to this, like it doesn't, whatever. But you have to at least admit that things have not improved in any notable way, as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I think things have significantly gotten worse. And I'm not sure if Trump had actually still been in office right now, if things would have been as different as we would hope. But I think there would be a lot more control as far as like not. I feel like they're just bombarding us right now with like new mandates and new this and new that, and things are getting pretty sketchy. What's your take on the current situation with these mandates with Southwest Airlines and all these businesses being like, you can't work here unless the nurse at the hospitals are getting kicked out? Like,
oh man, where to even begin here? Well, I think I'll start by saying those mandates are not law. Mm-hmm. It was a press release from the Biden administration. It is not an executive order. It is not a law. No one actually put it through Congress or anything. It is merely a suggestion that a lot of companies are taking it as law, which is absolutely insane, because number one, the lack of accountability for certain things. I don't want to get your channel in trouble because YouTube is very, very stringent and strict about the stuff. I myself just got a strike for quoting a government website talking about something. But man, I don't want to get you guys in trouble because I know how it revolves around it though. Like it's such a prominent thing. And look at that, though, the state of the world that we're in. I can't even talk about it. I can't even tell you why I got my strike. Right?
Yeah, that's scary enough as it is. Just the idea that we literally cannot have a discussion about it. Like, I'm sure me and you probably agree on a lot and disagree on other things, but we can't talk about it because we might get taken down from the tech overlords. It's a crazy world. Can we talk about Australia? Are we allowed to talk about other countries?
It's the same thing, though.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's too risky. But what we need to understand is it's authoritarian, and we need to recognize it. We need to look at Australia and go, we can't have that happen here, because now they're stepping down because of corruption and all this stuff's coming out. It's pretty insane. But I don't even know. I constantly try to do this. Like, where do we go from here? I always want to ask people, like, well, where do you think we should go from here? I myself, I have a show and I talk about this kind of stuff. Like, where do we go next? What should we do? And the main thing that I found is we got to get back into government. We need to understand that, like, the school boards are all taken over by leftists. Even government is now taken over by leftists. We got to be more proactive as far as being part of the conversation, because all these laws, not even laws, this mandate isn't a law. So all these things are being pushed forward through this narrative that is all agreed upon by these people on the left. And these people are celebrating it like, yay, cool. Yeah, mandate it, lock them down. And it's like, whoa, do you understand what the fundamental idea of being an American is? It's freedom.
They're not going to just give that back to you. Like, once they take something, they're going to keep it. I look at Canada as one of the examples. I just watched a video of Trudeau saying that, like, you are not allowed to travel at all, and like 12 and over. Like,
that's nuts.
from a child up to a full adult cannot travel unless XYZ. And I'm looking at the comments, dude, on this freaking video, and the people are like, yeah, way to take a stand. And I'm like,
it's crazy.
What are you doing?
Well, there's no accountability, right? So
no
one can get sued for adverse effects. I can say that, right? Because I don't know what we're even talking about right now, but I'm just saying if there is something that you can't sue anyone for adverse effect, because we don't know if there is or isn't. I'm not talking about anything in particular, but if an administration were to put out an executive order forcing people to do something, then it's their fault. But they didn't do that. So people are mandating it on their own accord. So now it's the company's fault if they do it, right? And I think there's lawsuits happening all over the place. Someone is reaching out to me from a a fire department. I actually have to hit them up. I was gonna work on either this week or early next week, but they're suing the city of Naperville in Illinois because they're forcing it upon their firefighters, and people are starting to stand up. Look at Chicago. The thousands of Chicago police officers are like, we're walking off the job. Like, we're not going to do this. We're on strike. And Lori Lightfoot's like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't go on strike. It's against the rules. And I'm like, what? You said, so wait, that's against the rules? Them standing up and going on strike because they don't like your mandates? That's illegal? Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm a little bit encouraged recently with what's been going on with like Southwest and United Airlines. And then I know I have a friend who works in LA as an EMT, and he's working his way up to becoming a firefighter. And he's one of those 800 and some odd firefighters who were like, nope, we're walking off. He's one of them. He called me the other day. He's like, I just quit my EMT job. I'm going to sit around. I'm going to go back to my old job and just wait until they call me and say that they're not going to do it.
Hey, if your friend is watching right now, thank you, because it's people like that that are going to help us beat this and win, right? It's that attitude. Hey, I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna fight it. Good for him. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I know with my company doing basically the same thing. They keep threatening to do it, but they haven't like put the hammer down yet. And I know I got confronted by the superintendent where I work, and he was like, I know you're not.
How does he know that? How does he know that?
Because he has a list of people who put their submission in. Right? So people who do, they incentivize.
That's a HIPAA right violation.
They incentivized it by offering gift cards and like plasma TVs and a bunch of older crap like a couple months back. And people who went and got it, which is their choice, whatever, you can do what you want to do. They put their information in that said that they got it so that they could win one of these freaking gifts. So that basically in a sideways kind of way allows them to know, okay, this person is, this person isn't, because they're just basing it off of like who submitted for these gift cards or whatever. So it's
pandemic so bad. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
So he's addressing me one day, and he's trying to figure out like, what can you just tell me why you don't want to? And we talked about this a little bit before, and I'm like, look, man,
it's none of your business.
Yeah, well,
that's the only thing you say there.
Yeah, I should have said that, but I gave him the spiel about risk versus reward, my age group, yada yada yada. I went through the whole thing, which is all backed by my research in the science. There's doctors out there who are offering this information freely
and who agree with you.
Yeah. One of the bigger ones. Gosh, what is his name? He's on the Joe Rogan podcast all the time. He has Dark Horse podcast, I think is his channel.
Brett Weinstein.
Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
I like his information.
He's fantastic.
Dr. Charles Hoffett, I believe his last name is. His information is really good, and I'm going off of this, and I'm like, okay, these are my reasons why not. And I presented that as an argument, and he was like, just flabbergasted, like, why wouldn't you just do it? And I'm like, I just told you, dude. Like, I'm not. And he's like, so are you going to leave if it becomes mandatory? And I'm like, yeah,
absolutely.
What do you expect me to do? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. These are my beliefs. I just told you.
Yeah. And I'm like, the company itself, OSHA came out and said that they're not going to allow anybody to, if you do have a bad reaction, they're not going to compensate you in any kind of monetary way.
Nor are they going to report it at all.
Yeah. OSHA's not going to do anything for me. The company.
That's nuts.
It's
that
totally
part
nuts.
alone. They came out with I don't even know if I can read this on your stream. I'm not going to, but they came out with a statement talking about if people have adverse effects, that might cause people to not want to get it. So we're just gonna squash all of them.
Yeah. They said
I think like they don't even exist. Like, wow.
They put a date on it. I think they said they're not going to address any adverse effects until
May.
Oh, I thought it was
2022.
Yeah, it's a couple of years from now, or I thought it was 2023. Maybe they changed it, but
I think it was. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
I can't remember the date. I know it was like a really long time from now. So I'm like, so I have no compensation from the company. I have no compensation.
May 2022.
Yeah, I have no compensation from the corporations who are making these medications. Like,
right.
There's nothing I can do if I win the lottery in the worst way possible.
Yeah,
I have nowhere to go. So how is that fair? Like, what am I going to do about that?
Exactly.
I have a family to provide for. There's other ways I can make money. I can go out and get another job. I can go out and do other things. I can start my own business and do, something that I want to do.
Yeah. You guys could come on my show and we can help get the Salty Nerd podcast to 3,000 subs.
I will take you up on that for sure.
Let's do that.
I'm kind of leaning on this for my, some more income coming in. That's our whole goal right now, is to be able to do this full time. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's a crazy fight, that world that we live in, that we have to fight this. The next question I have for you, and this is kind of a bit of a joke, but also serious.
Okay.
What are the betting odds that this president finishes off the rest of his 3 years?
Oh, finishes the full term?
The full term. Do you think he's going to make it?
No, definitely not. Not at all. Like the odds are, I mean, oh my goodness. The odds of him making it is probably like 10,000 to 1. Like, there's no chance. There's no chance he makes it. This dude can't. They don't let him do anything. Every time he talks, you saw what he just did. He's like yelling about how there's less democracies on this planet. Hey, Biden, by the way, a democracy, that's not what America is. We're a constitutional republic. A democracy is mob rule. A democracy says, hey, minorities, you don't get any say at all because the majority has spoken. Now shut up and deal with it. Yeah. That's what a democracy is. We are not a democracy, and they keep saying that we are. And it's like, wow, we're not.
A republic. We are a republic. We are
constitutional-based republic.
It's so
There's
frustrating.
A huge difference.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes when people are like, democracy's at stake, and I'm like, I do that line from Princess Bride. Like, I don't think that word means what you think it means.
You keep saying this word. I tweeted this out. This was, what's today? The 18th. So yesterday I tweeted out. I said, because I saw Biden's thing about like slamming the table, talking about fewer democracies, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, do people realize democracies means minorities don't have any say? And someone actually, I have to find it because I was laughing so much. It is glorious. Hold on. Here he goes. He goes, someone responds that says, that's not what democracy means. It means everyone has an equal say. He continues, even though that's amazingly wrong, because that is not what a democracy is. That's what a constitutional republic is supposed to be able to do. They continue to say, and minorities don't have any say. First of all, it doesn't work in the U.S. due to the Electoral College, which is why we're not a democracy, because we have an electoral college.
Because the Midwest farmers have an equal say to the 20 million people in LA County.
Well, I don't even think that's true anymore.
It might not be anymore.
They've changed it so that it's not even the case.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's I when I can't remember which election it was. Was it 2016 or maybe it was the 2021? But where they kept talking about like disbanding the Electoral College, and I'm like, oh great, so New York and LA can just call the shots for everybody. Then is that how it's going to work?
No, we need state electoral colleges as well as federal, so that Eastern Oregon, Eastern California, Northwest New York State, these people that have no voice because they're actually tend to be more red. Actually might have some sort of a say, because right now they're being drowned completely. East Oregon hates Portland because Portland is super blue and super crazy, and they have no choice. And they're like, all of our decisions just get lost because of the entire populace of Portland.
Yeah. Northeast California, I think, is the same way. They
Exactly.
they look at LA and they're like, that is not us. That's not California. I mean, they've even talked about like splitting that state in two, like
Yep.
Northern California and Southern California, which I don't think is necessarily that bad of an idea, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what the I'm not sure what the ramifications of that would be as far as the logistically, but I'm open to it.
It's tough when you start doing that, though. You're setting an example of we're the divided states of America. So it's like the division will actually start to fracture. Because like I think if that starts happening, it'll be like one domino that we didn't want to fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want to be the divided states of America. I want to be able to disagree with people and have it be okay. Like what happened to that? We're not even allowed to disagree anymore. And that is like the biggest shame of
that's a good point
of everything. Like if you don't agree with every single thing on the left says, because it's not the same on the right. I feel because I'm on the right now for some reason. I thought I was more centrist. I still believe I am, but to everyone on the left, I'm now some right wing podcaster, which is insane.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with one thing or maybe a couple things, suddenly I'm a Yahtzee.
You think social media has more to do with that than actual like real life people having conversations? Because I feel like social media just boils things down to the absolute lowest common denominator.
Have you heard of the Smith-Mundt Act?
I have not. Tell me about it.
So it was proposed in 2011, I believe, and it was to allow. So ever since the Cold War, actually long before the Cold War, America has lied, and the media has lied to other countries, but it was against the law to lie to American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So the Smith-Mundt Act was basically to enable these media companies to not have to differentiate anymore and just be like, we'll just make up stories and we can sell it to whoever and anyone. And it didn't pass on its own because why would anyone want to do that? But they snuck it into the National Defense Authorization Act that has 2000, one of these big fluff bills that they passed in 2013. And it allows them to basically propagandize American citizens legally. So the media is now legally allowed to lie to American citizens, and it's pretty messed up. So when you ask me about social media, is it just social media? No, it's this mixture of what the game of telephone, right? From the truth, which would be over here, and what people hear, which is all the way over here. It filters through mainstream media, the main narrative, which we know now Facebook even came out and said that they're working with the federal government to push the narrative that they want. So it's a mixture of, it's fascism, by the way. Corporatism and fascism, they're basically the same thing. When big tech and these big corporations start working with the federal government, I mean, that's Mussolini said that. I don't know if you know that quote from Mussolini. I can't quote him right now, but he said fascism should be actually more accurately be called corporatism when the state and like the corporations work in conjunction, and that's what we're seeing right now. So but the people on social media, big tech is basically filtering in what they want you to see and what to read. So I don't know how many years of mind manipulation the AAA or the ABC agencies have under their belt, but they're working with these new algorithms that they can actually get to the minds of everyone. All people have one of these now, right? For the most part, this exists. I do. Right, most people have a smartphone that they can, they know what we're doing. They know that we pick up and look through Instagram or Twitter or whatever you want. They have this ability to actually watch what we're doing and manipulate it. So is it social media, or is it, I'm not saying that it's some nefarious like scheme to take over the world. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's led us to here, whatever it is, right? You could see the influences and how people, and honestly, it's people's lack of purpose, right? If people had purpose, like if I don't want this to happen, say an alien race came and put a base on the moon and wanted to, but couldn't figure out how to live in our atmosphere and were like trying to fight us and take over Earth. That would unite us really quickly, and we'd have a purpose. We would stop worrying about pronouns. People would stop worrying about the freaking microaggressions.
Who they're going to cancel next. Yeah.
Right. We would have a serious macro danger that people don't know. Our life, we don't have to worry about macro dangers, right? We're all, everyone's focused about microaggressions. It's like, oh my gosh, we're so spoiled, so we almost look for reasons to be upset, look for reasons to have a purpose. So this virtue signaling, SJW, this whole movement to anti-racism, all this crazy stuff where I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. Sure, it exists, but is it as like widespread as they claim? No, definitely not. Most people, I don't know any racist. Most people I know want to live life well and wish that upon others. And that's like a baseline against all people that I know in my life. And I just, you will not convince me that America is racist. I think most people in America, most Americans want that. They have no purpose in life. We're so spoiled. Our purpose was get food, make sure we have shelter, and make sure that the guy that's coming down the road doesn't kill you and take your stuff. That was like most of humanity, those three things. Yeah. That like 99.9% of humanity was that. And that was our purpose, to survive. We took that away. Right. So now.
And that goes back to talking about people who are just, there's nothing for them to do. So they laser focus on social media, and they get upset about random things. And I think like, I don't want to dive too deep into racism thing, but it definitely exists. There's people out there who definitely are. There's no arguing that. Of course. I think if the average American is confronted by somebody like that, they look at it like, what is wrong with you, dude? You're kind of freaking like,
but we need that. We need the shame. We need to, it's like, watch it. Django Unchained. Have you see that?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Awesome movie, right? I recently watched it, and I was like, I found myself, I'm like, rooting for him, because those people did heinous things, and like, it almost feels like these SJWs look at this movie and they would look at someone like me, because I'm on the right, and go, "Are you upset that the slavers like got killed?" I'm like, no. No, they deserve that. They were terrible. They did terrible, heinous things, and like, goodness sakes. But they believe that. They think that most of Americans are like bummed that we freed the slaves or something, and it's like, that's so ridiculous. Did you forget half the country fought to free the slaves also? Like, it's just, this whole racism thing. I'm so over it, because it was never a thing in my life. I've had friends of all different nationalities, whatever. They're all human beings. Yeah. And that's it, period.
Yeah, I grew up, granted, I grew up in a very white area. It was like the freaking backwoods in Connecticut. And but my growing up, like my nieces and nephews are mixed. They're half black, and I'm like, that's whatever. It is what it is. My sister married a freaking awesome dude. I loved him. He was my awesome brother-in-law. He's like a big honking dude, worked out all the time, really cool guy. So like, it never crossed my mind until like the last couple of years, when this conversation about racism started coming back up, and I'm like, what are we? Did something change? Because I didn't grow up like that. Like, what's going on here?
Dude, I read something last year that pissed me off, because I'm the same way. I have mixed race nieces and nephews, and there was an SJW that was somehow going viral about calling out an uncle, which you're an uncle, right? To biracial nieces and nephews, as am I, and we were not allowed to like hold them and like be like, because it's like somehow racist or something. And I'm like, are you telling me I can't love my niece and nephew because they're a different skin color than me? No, I have all my nieces and nephews, all different color. I love them all the same. They're like, what the hell does it have anything to do with their skin? They're family to me. I treat them as such. I love each and every single one of them. Shame on you for letting them hear you say that.
That's the racist person to me.
Exactly.
If I'm from the outside looking at that situation, I see somebody say that to you, I'm like, oh, that's the person who.
That's racist.
The racist person,
Yep.
not the guy who wants to hold his niece and nephew. That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
it's insane.
the other thing too, I think they keep moving the goalpost on like what they consider to be. I mean,
you think
they
do?
They've been calling like Dave Chappelle racist recently. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, dude. He's a comedian. He's supposed to be. Did you
see the special? Did you see the closer?
I haven't yet. I've watched clips.
It's so good. It's so good.
Dave Chappelle is top tier comedy as far as I'm concerned.
He's the best. He is the last bastion of making fun of everyone equally because he is inclusive.
Yes.
He is the most inclusive. All of those people claiming that he's trans, whatever. No. Dave Chappelle is the most inclusive person on the planet right now because he makes fun of everyone. Period.
Everybody equal. Yep. When it comes to comedy, everybody's on the table equal.
Yep. And if you can't handle it, you want to separate yourself. Is that not what you're fighting for? To be included? Well, being included means you're gonna get it.
This is a great example. I went to a comedy show. I can't remember the comic's name. He was a lead in to Fluffy. I can't remember his name either. The big Mexican dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I know. I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It was an opening for him. This comic was going about his bit, and he started making fun of my religion. He goes off on this tangent about my specific religion, and I was like, wow, that is wildly inaccurate. Also kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like that was the whole point of the skit. Like he got so much wrong. He was generalizing a lot, which is what they do. And he's making fun of a particular, but I was like, personally, I didn't find that bit of his skit funny, but I'm not going to be like, how dare he? Like,
I'll never listen to him again.
Like, I don't care. He's trying to be funny. A lot of the other people laughed. All right, I get it, man. Good job. Whatever. It's not my thing, but it's all good. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
It's so silly how quickly
Gabriel Iglesias, is that it?
Yes,
that's Chat's saying it. Yeah,
thank you. So Joker's voice. He's a local Las Vegas guy. Thank you so much. He's our street team. He goes out and he goes to all the cons for us and
that's cool.
In our podcast.
Right on.
Okay, we're at an hour already. I don't want to keep you too long. I have one last question for you.
Sure. All right.
And this might be a big one. You can say whatever you want about this, but I'm worried. I'm wondering what's going to happen. We talked about the unifying force. You said aliens came and took over the moon, and that would unify everybody to stop worrying about all this nonsense.
Extreme example, but yeah.
Yeah. So on a real example, having China as a big aggressor towards the United States. I know they're doing something with Taiwan. I'm not super into. I don't know what's going on, but I hear it going in the headlines.
They're prepping for it. Yeah.
If something were to happen with a major country, whether it's Russia or China, do you think that would unify the United States? And is that what's going to happen? Are we looking for the next big war to take place for us to drop all this nonsense and move on to more important issues? Or where do you think that's all going to go?
Well, I'll tell you what, I know some veterans. I honor my veterans as much as I can. And I know that there's millions and millions of them and that are sick of what's happening. Many of them have told me I would drop everything and re-enlist instantly to fight for this country. They love America as they should. America's amazing. And I think that people are finally getting fed up of having it be portrayed in a negative way, because America's amazing. And the people who don't think it is don't understand what America is. They were told that America isn't what it is, even though it really is an amazing place. So what is going to unify? So what if there's like a world war? I don't know. I feel like we're in it right now and we don't realize it. Without, where did this whole thing come from? Who is the backer behind it? I mean, obviously we're getting into some conspiracy kind of things, but I've seen enough inconsistencies in so many different stories because I've got my ear to the ground on everything, right? I'm every day I'm reading about what's happening and being influenced in one way or another. But I don't know. I hope we don't go to world war because I don't want war. I'm not a violent person. I don't want death. As I said, I truly want everyone to live well, and I want to live well myself, right? I want everyone to have that. I want everyone to have a purpose, and it saddens me to think that that might be the only reason we come together. I mean, China, you mentioned China. China is a scary place. Like they don't want anything to do with the International Space Station. They're building their own space station and letting their rockets just fall wherever they land because they don't really care. I mean, so much of the industry on this planet is out of China, so we almost can't go on without them right now, which is also frightening. Like we need them to keep the grease moving.
Medical supplies alone. That was
Dude,
realized really early on.
80% of our medical stuff comes from China. Like
it's
80
absurd.
From Wuhan. They make it in Wuhan. I don't know if you know that, but it's crazy.
No, I did not know that, but that's insane. Yeah,
that's where most of it comes from.
It's terrifying, but almost like I don't want it to happen either. I'm 100% with you. I have 3 young kids. I do not want them to grow up in a world where we're sending people off to die in trenches and stuff. It would just be horrific. I don't want that to happen. The thing about what's going on with China, for me, from my perspective, again, I'm not educated in politics. I don't know the geopolitical situation. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But from my perspective, as an adult with kids, with a job, with a 9-to-5, that seems to be the only thing that's going to get people to focus on what is actually really important, and which is, the safety of this country and making sure that people can live well.
I don't know, man. Look at Afghanistan, for example. All right, just to I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
That statement though. Look at Afghanistan. We trained these guys for 20 years, gave them millions and millions of equipment. I'm sorry, billions and billions of dollars in equipment and time invested into helping them take control of their country and keep it. And they just dropped the guns and ran away. Now, this is, of course, I'm talking about the Afghani men that were trained, not Taliban, because they're the ones who hate Western culture. Now, the reason I talk about that, it's like we have this society now where these younger, I don't want to just say men, but because, women are in the army as well now or whatever in the service. But I'd say that the people that are in the service, I trust them. I feel like they're going to do what's right. I personally, like my own brother is a Marine. And, if you are in the service, thank you for your service. I feel like the people that in the past would have, like when Pearl Harbor hit us, right? And everyone's like, well, I'm going to go enlist because it's what's right. Right. Those people don't exist anymore because the people that would enlist have enlisted. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like there's a big part of American society that would probably be like, good riddance. We should be attacked or some crazy thing like that. Like they would welcome it. Like those are the people that wanted Joe Rogan to die from COVID and wished ill on President Trump when he got it. And like all these people that would literally celebrate me getting hurt because I am not adhering to their narrative. It's such a weird time that we're in right now that I don't know, man. I don't know if they would almost welcome a Chinese overlord at this point. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Of course, they think that they're going to get some sort of utopia where they get to continue being TikTokers and doing whatever the heck they want, when in reality they have no clue what life would be like under an authoritarian regime where they can't do what they want to do. That utopia that they think exists only in their mind.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the show Man in the High Castle?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
Is that Tim Cast IRL or?
No. Man in the High Castle is a show. It's on Amazon Prime. And
what's it about?
It's like an alternative history about if Germany had won World War II and they split the United States. Germany gets the East Coast and Japan gets the West Coast. And
interesting.
It's a very fascinating show, and I really enjoyed it because it really pointed out the reality of actually living underneath these oppressive regimes and what it would be like for Americans in that time. if another country came in and controlled the world.
Wow.
And it was the conversations that the characters had about what actual fascism was like, oh my gosh, more people need to hear this. I think it brought to light a lot of the things that people think is fascism, but really isn't, compared to actual fascism, which happens in the show because the Nazis took over, half the United States. So it was a really great show. I think it ended way too quickly. I think they ran out of money and they just polished off the season. But the first couple of seasons were fantastic, and it was a great show. I highly recommend it if you want to see a show that has a great.
Where is it on?
It's on Amazon Prime Video.
Cool.
So yeah, I highly recommend it. All right, Adam, I have taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a great conversation.
Oh, thank you.
I had a lot of fun.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
We got one last super chat asking for a war, alien or human, is like having a band-aid
baby.
Band-aid baby. It's not going to save the union and will only make divorce more painful. Oh, I got Band-Aid baby. Okay, I got what you're saying. Yeah, with two people who shouldn't be together anymore.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. Once it ends, what are you left with?
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Adam? Where can they support you? Your coffee. Shout it out. Do all the plugs you want.
Thank you. So I have a show Monday through Friday, 6:30 Eastern time on YouTube called The Crigler Show. Sometimes I get strikes for just being a little too truthful for the YouTube realm. It happens, but I'm not gonna stop doing what I do. And you can also check out my delicious coffee, criglercoffee.com. You can also follow me pretty much anywhere. I also have a locals, adamcrigler.locals.com. I think I might actually start uploading my more spicy takes on things over there just for subscribers. Follow me on Twitter, Adam Crigler. It's pretty much just Adam Crigler everywhere. Parler, Gab, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things is just my full name. Twitch, I do Commodore Crigler, and that's why the new blend that supports 22 until none is called the Commodore's Reserve. And thanks for having me on. I had a really good time. It was a good conversation.
Right on, man. Thank you so much. All right, for all of our new people in the chat room, thank you all for coming. I know you came for Adam, but I appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much. Consider subscribing. We're trying to hit those milestones, trying to grow the channel. If you want to chat with us about movies and all kinds of other nonsense, go to our Discord server. We have a great community there. Shout out to all those guys who are in the Discord all the time. We love you. We have a ton of fun. I dabble in streaming some video game stuff. We do some watch parties and a lot of fun stuff over there. So join us if you want an escape. That's our thing. On our brand, the Salty Nerd Podcast. If you just need to get away from the politics for a minute, if you just need to get away from the stuff that's happening in the world, that's the place you want to go. saltynerdpodcast.com or saltynerdvideo.com for our YouTube channel. Hit us up. We'd love to have you. We'd love to talk about movies and whatnot. Adam, thank you so much. Again, it was a pleasure talking with you. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for your support and your super chats. You guys were amazing tonight. We love you all, and have a great night, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.